How you all feeling? Okay, there's been too many voices talking about quitting crypto and that crypto's broken. So I'm gonna start a series of videos of somebody who is not quitting and is doubling down on crypto. And this isn't gonna be about chilling Fogo. Fogo just started. Like a lot of the things I'm gonna talk about, like we haven't gotten there and we're gonna be building towards. But I think we're lucky in that there's some examples like Hyperliquid that has shown us the playbook that is working, and we're early enough that we can still kind of build towards that and potentially even surpass that. So, why do I think crypto is not broken, and why am I doubling down? Number one, crypto is just resilient. So I've been through a number of these bear markets, crypto winters, and it always bounces back and comes back higher, and new stories come and take over. I think as these markets mature, hopefully that there'll be more intrinsic value in the tokens such that the bear markets and winters aren't as steep. But yeah, it always comes back and Bitcoin's gonna go higher. There's so many times when I heard Bitcoin's gone to zero and it's dead. And it's just been a buying opportunity. Number two, it's useful. So when I send stablecoin transactions, it's a beautiful thing. I have an entity that never had a bank account because it's annoying to get a bank account, and I just use stablecoin payments. And I think there's only one legal company that only accepts dollars, but pretty much everybody accepts USDC. Shout out to Circle, and it's useful. It's way better than opening a bank account. Like I've been rejected personally for bank accounts and just given up. Whereas sending stable coins is just awesome. And so there's always going to be value in something that's more useful than the status quo. And we've built something useful. And don't let the volatility of tokens detract from that. Third thing is it's one of the best investments out there. If you just look at stablecoin yields and going back to banks, like your savings pays a couple percent. Whereas a lot of these borrow lend platforms, stablecoin yield is much higher than that. Obviously, there's more risk, but if you can understand both the financial risk and the smart contract risk, and you have a portion of capital that you're willing to put more at risk, it's a pretty good option for anybody. And you don't have, once again, you don't have to walk into a bank or open a brokerage account to get that, and it's open to the world. And that investment opportunity, open investment opportunity, is also gonna be something that's gonna just increase adoption and be have intrinsic value. The other thing is you can go long or short now with perps. So it's not just a long only spot game anymore. Traders that see things that are overvalued can now place very efficient bets on those things. Not only crypto now, but real world assets. And that helps with price discovery. It helps with taking the fluff out of some of these overvalued tokens, and also allows people to make money in down markets. And that money potentially gets recycled back on chain into other things. And so part of the maturity of these markets is being able to exercise a short position as well. And businesses that allow for that to happen in down markets, especially if they have value accrual back to the token, could potentially even do better because volatility oftentimes attracts more traders and more fees, and they're buying back the token. And so we can see some tokens outperforming now as markets get mature in down markets because their businesses are doing even better. The other thing is we're starting to see value plays that go against the total correlation of down markets. Hyperliquid is the best one. People are looking at the actual revenue that's being generated by a very sustainable trading business. They're looking at the buybacks and the burns of the asset, and they're coming up with valuations. And so it doesn't matter what Bitcoin does or what the S&P does. Obviously, there is some risk on, risk off sentiment that's always going to play into those token values. But you're starting to see that those businesses are starting to break away from the correlation of the general market because people are looking at the actual value of that token. And that's bad news for those who don't have that story. If you're an overvalued blockchain with no sustainable trading business that accrues value back or is deflationary, you're now competing with Hyperliquid, and we're starting to see that rotation out of those high value plays that don't have that story, don't have this sustainable business, don't have the value accrual back to the token, and into plays like Hyperliquid. And obviously, new entrants are gonna run that playbook down. So if you think Hyperliquid is a one-off, get ready for others that are gonna have that same playbook, that have control over designing a better value accrue system to the token. That could be corporates as well. And we're already starting to see that. And that's the new standard. And if you don't have that, or you're too decentralized and aren't able to fix a design that doesn't account for that value accrual, you're going to struggle. And we're already seeing that struggle, and we're already seeing that repricing. The other thing is privacy. So you don't see, there's nowhere else where an industry is so focused on solving for privacy for the individual. So like governments aren't prioritizing privacy. Like Web 2 and apps aren't prioritizing privacy because like they make more money when they can get more details about you and monetize them. So this is the only place I think that has a chance to actually solve for privacy and provide that very important rate to the world. That alone, forget about price, like that effort alone, and there's been great strides made, I think is worth it, right? Because like if the blockchain permissionless decentralized world doesn't solve for privacy, nobody else is. And so that's another key reason that this is worth it. And then the last thing, it's the most fun thing to do. I worked on a lot of different industries. I worked in TradFi. It's just really cool to see that anybody in the world can come up with a vision of building something, whether it's a DeFi app or a game or whatever, and deploy it and have it go viral and accrue value back to this token that they've minted. That is just a cool concept that, once again, isn't happening anywhere else. And it's just fun to see when you empower the globe to be able to build whatever they want, like all the new cool things that are coming out of it. And so, like, when people say crypto is broken, it's like saying, like the apps are broken. Like, there's not going to be, another great app that's useful or fun or another great game. No. And I think blockchains and tokenization empowers that that ability for anybody to create that cool thing, much more than these centralized plays. That's why I'm not quitting crypto. We're doubling down. We also think, and this isn't a Fogo commercial, you're going to get a lot more of that from me. But we think that if you build a valuable, useful business and you have an interesting value accrual design, then you can be immune to this repricing of what I think is a lot of overvalued assets that don't have that. And so this is the first video of many where we're going to be documenting how we're building towards that. As I said, Fogo just started, but the growth stage and that journey starts next week. And you're going to start to see some announcements there. And, look, perps is a big thing for us. We didn't build Fogo just to have a perps dex that was on par with others. And there's another project that I'm going to disclose that's going to accelerate not only Fogo, but others that want to participate and bring the level of optimizations that come to dexes much higher than anything that we're seeing today, including Hyperliquid. So stay tuned for more details on that. And yeah, don't quit. We'll get through this. And I think we're going to be much stronger when we do.